All right, good morning. My name is Jason McMurray. I'm the VP of Customer Success at Mindflash. So many of you, I've spoken with many of you, and certainly you guys interact with my team on a regular basis. Today we're going to go through what is a part of a long march we've been on to make the general day-to-day use of Mindflash more efficient for people as they're navigating around doing sort of their day-to-day actions. What we saw, or what we've seen over time as programs have grown and some of our customers have gotten bigger, is some of the interfaces that we had designed for smaller programs were not as efficient as they could be. It was taking people longer to do things than they should, and certainly than we wanted it to. So we've been on a long march here to make things more efficient and sort of redesign all of our interfaces. That project is well underway, and you'll see some major changes coming up this next month or so. We'll talk about that toward the end. Just a couple of things before we get started here. First of all, this webinar will be recorded, as all of our webinars are. We'll send a link to the video after the webinar, so feel free to circulate it to anyone on your team, or if you can't stick around the whole time, we will send you a full recording of it so you can recap with all of your team. As always, all of our webinars are available on our YouTube channel. So if you just go into YouTube and search for Mindflash Training or youtube.com/mindflashtraining, you'll find our channel, and you can browse through all of our webinars. At the end of the webinar, we will address questions, or I'll address questions that come up about really anything related to Mindflash, whether it be this particular subject or any other things that you may have questions about Mindflash. So I'll stick around at the end and answer those questions. You'll see on the right-hand panel, the GoToWebinar panel on the right-hand side, there's a section for questions. If you do have any questions that come up during the webinar, just enter them in that little panel right there, and I'll address them before we take off today. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started here. So first of all, today what we're going to cover are some common uses for what we call our advanced filters. And I'll go through where those are available, what you can do with them, that sort of stuff. The second part, and really one of the most important parts in my opinion of this, is the ability to take actions on those filters that you've used. So it's great to go and see a list of people that have done various things or meet certain criteria, but what can you do with that after the fact? This is part of, it comes back to what I mentioned in the beginning of making it more efficient. So if you only have 1 or 2 courses or a couple of users, it's not a big deal to just jump between 2 courses and reset the 3 people that need to be reset. But what happens if you have 500 people that are in that state across 20 courses, or as some of our customers, you literally have hundreds of thousands of people who are completing a course on a monthly basis? How do you manage that at scale? And that's really what we're trying to address with this. So we'll talk through how you can take actions on those things. I'll go into a demo and show you exactly how they work and some of the actions you can take on a live demo. So you'll see a sort of a real world example of how all that works. I'll talk through what our next release looks like, which will be at the end of July, and we'll talk through how you can get access to that early if you'd like to do so. There are some of the things I'll talk about today you would need to be part of that early release to get access to, but certainly we're happy to have you in there if you're interested to do that. And then at the end, as I mentioned, we'll address any questions that you have that come up during the webinar or about anything Mindflash. So we can head those up and get all those questions answered. All right, so let's get going here. First of all, what are advanced filters and how can you use them? Our advanced filters are a more powerful way to filter your list of users into subsets. So whether it be people who are members of specific groups or are enrolled in a course or some attribute in a custom field, their t-shirt size is extra large if you have that as a custom field, that sort of example. You can search by email, you can search by their status, whether it be archived or active, or even their role within the system. So if you have people that are designated as trainers, managers, reporters, you can filter your list based on that. Once you do that, the list will refresh with the people that satisfy that criteria. So not too surprising there. That's how most filters work. And then ultimately, you've got a means to determine who needs to have an action taken. So it's really great that you can see that list, but let's go take that action or act on that list and do whatever needs to happen next. So whether it's reset people, remind them, extend their deadline for people that are in a missed deadline status. You can invite people to a new course that have completed a course before it or something like that. So there's a lot of actions you can take, and you can do that in bulk and across courses. So that's the other, and series for that matter. That's the really important thing, is that you don't have to go into an individual course to reset people. You can do it across all of your courses if you wanted to. The other thing that we'll see here is that the filters are persistent from session to session with Mindflash. What that means is if you wanted to, for example, only see the active trainees, if you set up that filter so that you see active trainees, the next time you log into Mindflash, you'll see that exact same filter applied. So if you never want to see archived trainees, you set that filter to active only, and when you log in every time, that's what you'll see. If you're in charge of managing a specific group, or you only want to see people in a specific group, and you set your filter to only show you people in that group, it'll show you those people when you log in the next time. The other thing to note about this persistence and how the filters work is it's different from user to user. So if you have multiple admins in your company, or you have admins and managers, trainers, whatever view they've chosen to see is what they will see. You can have different views. So, you know, the person who administers the whole thing may have a different view than the person who actually creates the training. And that's all possible. We'll also see that you can customize what columns are included in your view. So you can choose to turn things on and off as you see necessary. All right, so what do the advanced filters look like? For those of you who have been to our Manage Users page, you've seen a glimpse of kind of where we're headed. This is a quick screenshot of the advanced filters, the advanced filter that appears on the Manage Users screen. You'll notice in the background here, in the grayed out images, there's some screenshots of what the courses and series filters will look like. That's a sort of a preview of what's coming in the future, and we'll look at that in a few minutes. But you'll also notice that all of the fields that are available are appropriate for whatever object you're accessing those filters on. So for example, if you're on the Manage Users, you're going to get things like the custom fields, because those apply to users. If you're on a course, you're going to get things like the created date or the date it was modified. And that really allows you to filter down to exactly what you want to see. So why would I use these? As I mentioned, they allow you to limit your everyday view of trainees. So if you only want to see a specific group of people, only active trainees, users in a specific course. The second thing is they can help you find a specific user. So if you don't know the person's name, but you want to know the people or person who satisfies certain criteria, you can use those filters to do that. I'll give you an example of that once I start the demo in a minute. Certainly as you run a bigger and bigger program, you probably don't know all of your trainees by name or even by function. So that you can use the advanced filters to find those people and take the necessary action. And then the third one there, you can see you can take the action on specific users. So whether it's enrolling in a new course, changing the expiration date, resetting, reminding everyone who hasn't completed their courses, all of that can be done, and it can be done across courses, series, etc. All right, so now I'm going to hop into a demo here and show some real-world examples of how this would work and how you would apply this. So as we go through, I will talk through some of these examples, and we can look at how that all functions. Again, as I mentioned, if you do have questions or anything doesn't make sense to you, then certainly just answer it in the questions section here on the right of your GoToMeeting panel or your GoToWebinar panel, and I'll address those for sure before we take off. I can do more demos too if necessary. One thing I want to draw your attention to, which is coming up here shortly, is the home screen. This will be part of our July release. This has some high-level statistics that are really exciting, that you can go and get a summary view of what's coming up. You can also go straight to the users screen from here because obviously this pertains to users. I will go to the users. For those that don't recognize what these screens look like or you're seeing things that are not available to you, we do have some folks that are on an early access program to the upcoming July release. If you would like to be part of that after this, we'll all run a poll at the end that allows you to notify us that you're interested. But if it doesn't look like your current version of Mindflash, that's why. And so don't be surprised if you see things that are slightly different. Okay, so let's just hop into some examples here and run these. So first of all, what if I want to see someone in a specific group? So we've got our traditional search box here where I could search for someone's name. If I search for my own name, I'm in here. And I can go and find myself and click on that. It searches both email and name. The advanced filters are available here in this link, the advanced filter. So if I open that up and I want to go find the people that are in a specific group, I can go to the group section. I can type it in if I want to, if I have a bunch of groups, or it'll start to give me a list which I can sort through. If I want to find the people in the sales group, just click that, click search, and that returns all of the people that are in the sales group. So you can see there's only 6 people that are in that group, but it's limited my list and my view. Like I said, if I were to log back here, if I were to log out now and log back in, I would see this exact same view. So it will remember that and show it to me each time. Now, I mentioned also that we can customize the columns. That's the little gear over here on the right-hand side. And if I do that, I can, for example, add date added. And that then becomes one of the columns available. This is also sortable. You notice when I clicked on it, it flips over. I can sort on a variety of things. If I want to sort on last name, for example, I can do that as well. Okay, so another example. I only want to see people that are active. This is a very common option that people are looking for. I had cleared my filter. I changed state to active. Oops, excuse me. Active, and I hit search, and that gives me all the people that are in active state. You can see there's 101 people that are in that state. This is very common. A lot of people will just leave this filter always applied and just continue working as they normally would. So they would just always show them the active people. Okay, so what if I want to see the people that are active and also in a specific course? I come down to the training. This is course. It will be in the future. This is one of the things that will be available in a coming release. The live training courses, if you're on our pro tier, and then series. So you can select any of the items, whether it be course, live training, or series. I'm going to choose a specific course. So this is giving me the active users who are in this course. I hit search, and it'll show me those people. So these are the people that are enrolled in that course. All right, so that's just my general view. If I just wanted to apply the filter to see a specific view of people. I'm going to go ahead and clear that now, and it gives me my full list of 115 users. And now I want to find a specific user. So if I don't know who the person is that I'm looking for, but I know what I'm looking for, I can open the advanced filters. And let's see, let me find the person who is the manager of the sales team. Manager in the group sales, and search for that person, and now I know who that person is. So there's a lot of different criteria in there. You'll notice when I edit the filter, we've got things like email, their role, so whether manager, trainer, admin, the state, whether they're active or archived. We've got groups. You can have multiple groups. So if you wanted to know people that are in sales and engineering, you can apply those. Custom fields. If you use custom fields in your account, those are available here. And you can search for a specific value. You can search for multiple custom fields. You can search, as we saw, for the course, the live training, or the series. For a specific one, you could search for people that are in all the courses that have a specific, or that are in any of your courses, that sort of thing. You can search for the people that are in no courses or no group even. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, if you are searching by a course, you can also search by specific statuses. So the people who have missed a deadline, that failed, that are in progress. And then in this next part that I'm going to show you here, you can actually take action on those people. And this is where I think we've really been able to save people the most time. There are people that, and this is sort of the scenario where this is specifically addressed or aimed at. There are people that I've spoken with since we've had this out in early access who have been able to take what was previously taking them an hour every week. On Monday they were going in and resetting all the people that missed their deadline. They were going course by course over 20, 30 courses and finding all the people that missed the deadline. They were extending the deadline, and then that, of course, notifies people that that's happened. Or the resetting people that have failed. They've been able to do this in a matter of minutes, what was previously taking them, several hours. So let me show you some examples of how all of that could work. So I am going to reset. So we've got blank filters. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to enroll people who were previously in another course or who have passed a previous course. I want to enroll them in another course. So in this scenario, let's go ahead and choose the Learn to Sell course. I want to find all the people who have passed it. It's given me 2 people. Now, this is the important part on how you get to these actions. You'll see the checkbox here. I could check 1 or multiple people. If there's a long list, obviously I could pick just the ones I wanted. But let's assume I want to invite everyone who's passed this course to another course. I can click this checkbox in the top left-hand corner, which will select all of them. And you'll notice 2 buttons appeared up here. There's an invite button and there's a manage button. If I click on invite, it shows me a list of all of my courses. I could flip that over to live courses. I could flip that over to series, but in this case, I'm going to invite them to a course. So this gives me a full list of all of my courses. If I wanted to, I could filter that list as well, but I'm going to just select one of my courses from here. I'm going to select that one, and you see the invite to one course button pops up. I click invite to one course, and those trainees were just invited to another course. So super simple way of just going in and taking a really quick action on all of the people that you want to do that with. So that was an example of a specific course. What I want to show you here is actually another interesting function here, which is the ability to do it across multiple courses. And this is really where this is powerful. So what I've got here is a filter that has anyone who's in a missed deadline status. So they've missed the deadline that I've set up. I search for that. It says I have 163 people in that status. I select here, and then you'll notice there's the manage button here next to the invite. If I click manage, it shows me this view. This view shows me all of the courses. I'm on the courses tab. It shows me all of the courses, and the people who are in these various statuses are color-coded in this little chart here. You'll notice that some of them are this color and are in a missed status. So a bunch of these courses have people that have a missed deadline status. If I wanted to just say, let's extend the deadline for every single person who has missed the deadline, I can just click in this box right here. If it's just for a specific course, I could click in that box, but I'm going to then click the Take Actions. It shows me in this how many people are in these various statuses. If you want to, you could expand the missed deadline, and it shows you all of the people that are in those statuses as well as the course that they're in those that they're in that status. If I want to do that for everyone, I click Missed Deadline. That selects the people in that status. I then click Set Deadline. It'll give me a calendar, and I want to say, okay, for everyone who's missed that deadline, let's extend it to the 5th of July. I click Done. It's going to do it for 173 people. I click Set, and all those people now have an extended deadline. And that did it across all of the courses that had that status. So that in particular is a method or a flow that then has saved tons of time for people that are going through these various things on a regular basis. The same thing, I could do that likewise for people that failed a course. If I wanted to try that, I could search for people that have failed. I'm going to select all. I'm going to manage them, take action, failed, and I can reset them. I just reset 2 people, and it took me about 10 seconds. Reminders are another thing that people do on a regular basis. I'm going to clear my filter. I'm going to open a new filter. Let's remind the people who have been invited. I'm going to grab that filter. I'm going to select the people. Again, manage. I'm going to select all the courses. I want to remind everyone who's in a status that's in an invited status that they need to do it. We'll do that. And then I've got remind, reset, and drop. I could do either reset or drop those people if I wanted to. In this case, I'm going to remind them. I click remind. It's going to send a reminder to all the people. And boom, reminder set for every single course, every person that was in invited status. So rather than go through all of the functions, I've been through several of them here. I'm going to stop there. And I think you probably get the picture, but all of those actions that you can take, the remind, reset, etc., are all things that you can do in bulk across multiple courses, multiple trainees with a variety of filters. All right, so now I'm going to hop back into PowerPoint here and cover a couple of other things that we have. So coming soon. I alluded to this earlier, but the advanced filters will soon be added to courses, series, live courses, and catalogs. The other thing that's really cool is we're going to be adding an export option for the advanced filtering on courses and series. I can show you that in a second here, how that's going to work. So basically the view that you're seeing, you can actually export that to an Excel spreadsheet. And then the other thing that comes along with this is there's actually going to be some real-time reporting for our series and live courses. Previously, that's been part of our advanced reporting, which does have a delay in being updated, but there will be data that now populates in the series and live courses for the trainees that are in it that will be live. And so that's exciting as well. Again, that will be exportable to Excel. So let me show what that's going to look like real quickly here. If I jump over to courses, so there's 2 ways that advanced filters are going to be available in courses, series, and live courses. The first is you can actually filter the view of the courses themselves you want to see. So if I wanted to only know or only see the courses that are administered, or the trainer on those courses is named Jennifer, I can do that, and you see that there's only one. So that's the only view I see. So if I'm a trainer on that course and I don't really care to see any of the other courses in my view, I can just filter it down to my name, and I will only see those trainer or that course that I run. You'll notice that there are a bunch of other things based on created date, modified date that have a certain status, or trainer email, all that sort of stuff. So that's available here on the actual view of the courses. The other thing that where this comes into play is if I go to a specific course. So now I've opened the course project plan, which opens this panel that gives me all this good information about the course. This is where I would go to add a quiz, content, etc. If I go to the Trainees tab, I can also see the people that have taken this course. In this case, it does have filters that we're on. You'll notice this filter section up here. I can click on the filter. It will give me various options. I've got advanced filters. If I want a contained invited date, status, trainee state, all that sort of stuff. Let's see, I want to see the people that have passed. I click filter, and now I only see the people who have passed. Now, what I was talking about with the export option is if you click here on the export button here, I could export an Excel file that has all the trainees, or I could export the file that just has the filtered view that I'm seeing here. So for a lot of you, this may be more than enough reporting. You just need to know the people who have finished on a regular basis. You can just dial that right in right here and export it. You don't have to worry about the going to advanced reports or anything like that. You can just do it straight from the courses. Now, as I mentioned, this is also coming to series and to live courses. So if I go to series and I open one of my series and I click on trainees, you'll notice a similar view to what we just saw on courses. Again, filterable, exportable, all real time. So that's been a bit of an issue for some folks with our series in the past. That's now available here, and you can export that whenever you'd like to. Okay, so we've seen all of this good stuff, and you might be wondering, as many folks have expressed interest in the past, is how do I get access to this? How well is it going? So first of all, we've gotten pretty solid feedback from a good number of people that have been in our early access program that this has saved them a significant amount of time. So you can see here some of the comments that we've gotten from folks. This has been consistent across everyone that's been in it. It's been very successful for us, so we're very excited about this. But I think that for a lot of people that are probably on this webinar today, hopefully you're going to get, some huge benefit out of the advanced filters that are currently available on the Manage User screen. A lot of that stuff is currently there now, and you can access it now. But as we've seen, there is a bunch of stuff coming on the courses series and live training that will be coming out in July. Some of that is available now, particularly the courses and the series filters. And if you would like to get access to that, if you want to get in on this, then certainly you're available to do that, or it is available for you to do that. If you are interested, you can let us know. I will post a poll in just a second just so that we can get an easy list. There's a lot of people on this webinar today, so it's a good way for us to get a list of people who are interested in doing that. Some info on the upcoming release. This will be pushed to everyone at the end of July. As with all of our new features, particularly the ones that have changes in UI or workflow or anything like that, we will have significant announcements around this. We'll do webinars ahead of time to invite everyone to come and see that. The changes that we're talking about here are only impacting the administrator, trainer, manager people. Your trainees who are taking courses on sort of a daily basis, the normal users that are trainees, are not impacted by this change at all. So the people that need to be notified of it and will be notified by Mindflash are your managers, trainers, admins. I would encourage you to share this webinar with them so that they can see a preview of what's coming up. If you'd like to, now would be the time to sort of flip over to early access. That would allow you to gain that early view. And I will currently put up a quick poll to see whether or not you're interested in doing so. If you could answer that, and I'll take it down in a second here, but if for anyone that would be interested in getting access to this, you will be able to let us know. And if you are interested in doing this, this would be a switch for your entire account. So if you do want to move forward with it, all of your admins, trainers, managers, etc., would actually get the changes that occur. So you may let everyone know in advance that you're going to do that, or just have a quick chat with them, maybe even share this webinar with them so they can see what's coming up. But we'll be making this switch at the end of July, so probably in the last third or so of July. We'll do our normal notifications. We'll do it both before and after. We'll have a webinar both before and after to go through and address questions, things like that. But this will be pushed to everyone in July. So this is an opportunity to get a little bit early access. All right. So I am going to go ahead and close the poll at this point. It seems like the overwhelming majority of people want in right now. So if you do want to vote just real quickly, then please do so as I am going to close out the poll. All right. So thanks to all of you who are interested, and those of you who aren't, no worries. We will certainly address all of that when the time comes. Okay, so last on our agenda here, questions, and we have quite a few. So I'm just going to power through these here and answer as many of them as possible. If you do have any questions, again, the question box is on the right-hand side there. I will probably be doing a fair amount of demoing along with these questions here. So let me flip over to a live account and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so just wondering, how do or can I reset a trainee password? Some trainees are having issues when they press the reset button, nothing happens for them. So the best way to actually reset a trainee password is to go to the login screen, and there is the forgot password button, and you can enter an email address. You can obviously enter someone else's email address if they're having trouble with that. Click that button and it'll send the email. So we get occasional reports of people not getting their reset passwords. We can track in our email system. They are always sent, and it's usually an issue of the mail server blocking it that's receiving it or getting caught in spam filters. So really the best place to start is ask the trainee to look in their spam filter. That's normally what the situation is. But the other possibility is that the email is actually getting blocked by the server itself. So if you are having trouble with this sort of in numbers, real numbers, then you can reach out to our support group. You can email help@mindflash.com or go to help.mindflash.com. That's our portal that gives all of our help documentation and everything like that. You can also submit a ticket there as well. And you can, our team will reach out to you quickly to get any issues resolved or address them. How can you use custom fields? I can't seem to create a new field when in the advanced filters. So in the advanced filters, you don't actually create a new field. The advanced filters are where you would act on a custom field that's already been created. So I can show you here how that works. So you'll notice, so first of all, I'm in the Users tab on the Manage Users screen. There's a Setup button here on the top right, and I can set up groups and custom fields. So if I set up custom fields, I can go in here and choose, I can add a custom field, I can edit an existing custom field, I can choose whether or not it's shown on the registration page. This is where you would actually set those up. Once I've set them up, then they become accessible in the advanced filters. So if I edit the advanced filter, then I can go in here and I can choose the custom field, let's say city, and I am actually not sure what cities I have in here, but if I had to search for Palo Alto and I search for it, I've got no people that are in the city of Palo Alto. But you can get a sense of how that would work. You would actually just go in and filter once the custom field has been set up. Where can I go to this via YouTube? So this will be part of the email that we sent out. It'll give you a link to all of this presentation specifically, but you will also have a link to our YouTube channel and go and see any of our other recordings that are there. Okay, when choosing a start date in the filter, where do you filter by a specific starting date? I am not totally clear on what that question is. Let me see here. So start date is something that is on the course. I'm trying to think of how you would, trying to think of where that, so there's an invited date here. if you want to search for a specific range of invited dates, so you could come here and say anyone started or was invited June 1st to June 30th, you would do it that way and filter that way. I don't think this course has any. Oh, it does have. But that's how you would filter for specific invitation dates. I don't think there's actually a filter for a specific start date, to my knowledge, but that's how you would do that. Can we download filter results to an Excel spreadsheet or even email and share? I think that question was submitted before we got there, but the answer to that question is yes, you can. You can see here on the screen that we're on, there is the export data field, or the export data button. That's what you would click when you're actually in there to do that. Just a quick note on that, it's going to be available on the courses, live courses, and series in the very near term. There are plans to bring that to the users screen as well in the future. It's not there right now and it won't be in the next couple of weeks, but we do have immediate plans to do that, so don't be afraid on that one. New to Mindflash, we use, welcome by the way, we use our modules for outside clients. Some of our clients who are supervisors want to have access to reports. I know as an administrator I can see that, but also have editing capabilities, which for obvious reasons I don't want clients to be able to do. I'm thinking that I may need to have different roles explained to me. I'm thinking I might create a group, make a supervisor, manager, and would have access to reports but not be able to edit material. Yeah, you've got it absolutely right. So the function that you're describing, or the scenario that you're describing, is handled using our roles. We have several different roles. I'd direct you actually to our help center. It's help.mindflash.com. If you search for roles, there is a help document that details exactly what each of our roles can do. We've got 6, I think, different roles, and they go from very restricted, can only view reports, to more lenient things where they can edit content, where they can enroll people, all that sort of stuff. But you're absolutely onto it. Our roles are available on our Pro tier. So if you don't see roles when you go in and look at one of your trainees, it could be because you're on basic or advanced. But if you do have access to them, that is how you would manage it. You can choose what trainees or what groups of trainees they have access to see. So in this scenario where it's one of your clients, you probably want to set up a role or a group for that specific customer, and you would make the person the manager, for example, of the company A's group, and they would only see the trainees who are in company A, and they could go in and run reports. They could even enroll people in that particular scenario if you wanted them to. The other thing I'll mention is if you do have any questions about that beyond sort of what's in the help doc, that's a great question for your customer success manager. The customer success managers see, quick plug for my team, the customer success managers see a lot of programs, they see a lot of scenarios, and they have really good insights into how to be more efficient with Mindflash, how to get the most out of it. So I would encourage you to reach out to them, and they would certainly be happy to set up a time to kind of go through what your scenario is and find the best role and talk you through what your options are. When you extend the deadline, does an email get sent to the trainee that tells them? Yeah, so when you go in and extend the deadline, they will receive an email telling them that they have a deadline extension. They would also see that in their account, in their dashboard when they log in. So if they're taking a bunch of courses and they have 1 or 2 that are in this deadline and you were to extend them, when they log in the next time, they'll then see that they have access to that, but it does send an email as well with that notification. I should have mentioned that because I got a second question about that. Why aren't the numbers matching up from the filters to the actions screen? I was actually doing that demo on our QA server, so that's something that it's a different environment where we're actually working on some of the things that are going on there. So those numbers did not match up. Very astute observation there, but the numbers didn't match up, but they will in your live account. Obviously, your live account now, if we flip you over to our early access program, that just sits on top of all of the data and the information that's there currently. So moving over to our early access doesn't change any of your data or any of that in any way. It's just a different view on that. So that will line up and you'll be able to act on it as you normally would or expect to. Will custom fields have an allowable entry control added? Now these are free text, which can lead to reporting errors. At the moment, you are correct. They are all free text fields. It's something that we're definitely playing around with and doing research around exactly what people are looking for on that. If you do have insights into kind of how you're using it, that is a great thing to reach out to your customer success manager on. We would love to hear what the scenario is for using those custom fields. Quick note on custom fields, they're used in a couple of ways. One is that you could upload a list of your people and have their data populated into the custom field. The other, and I suspect where this is coming up, is either you're having multiple people enter data into those custom fields, or you're using public registration, which leads to people entering things differently or spelling it incorrectly or whatever. Definitely recognize that's a problem, and that's why we're kind of exploring how we might deal with that solution in the future. In live courses, is there a way to get an attendee list? Yeah, so let me show you real quickly here on live courses. So if I go here and I go to Trainees, so this is a list of all of the people that are in this course as well as their statuses. And this, just for clarification, the reason I'm showing a lot of this on our QA server is because the live training is currently under production, or we're working on it. So that's why I've got it open here. But you can see what's going to be released in July. Or at least a view of what's coming. So this is a live training course. I'm looking at the trainees that are in that live training course, as well as all their statuses and everything. This is fully filterable, like we saw on the courses. Same filters apply. And this is exportable. So this would allow you to export that list of your attendees, as well as statuses, what groups are in, or whatever the case may be. So a lot more power coming to live courses in the future. In live courses, can you add video of the presenter in a corner? No, so just to make the term live courses completely clear, live courses are for like classroom training. It's not webinar training or group training via like GoToMeeting or something like that. This is literally for logging who attended a specific class in a classroom setting. So it's a little bit different than webinar training. And I think that's where that confusion is coming up. Question for the quiz. Number one request, ability to import quizzes from Excel sheets. Okay, I think I'm understanding where that's coming from. That could potentially work for some of our question types, like multiple choice or things like true false. I get that. And the reason we haven't done that is because we actually have a bunch of other question types that doesn't really apply to, like image related. But duly noted, and we'll take that down as a request and see how we might be able to accommodate that in the future. Is there a way to see active users that do not have active courses? So let me work through this real quickly here. So if I go to the users, and let me just clear out my filter, I go into advanced filters. And I go in and I find a specific, or people that are in specific courses, all courses, whatever. So I'm not totally sure that I understand the question. The users that don't have active courses. So I'm not sure totally how to interpret that, whether it's people that are currently taking a course or not. But if you wanted to find the people that are not currently taking, so they missed the deadline, they passed, or they failed, you could do that, and it would give you a list of the people that are in a specific course. You could also choose multiple courses, and then do it that way if you wanted to as well. what are the benefits of a live course versus GoToWebinar? I think I probably just addressed that, but just to be completely clear, our live courses are a way to track attendance in a course. They do not allow you to do screen sharing like a GoToWebinar or something like that. That's a different scenario that Mindflash currently doesn't support. Number 2 request, quizzes are currently limited to only 5 multiple choice options. There are plans to allow more. There are not immediate plans to allow more. That may be something that we do in the future. Ultimately, you run into some space issues. One of the things that we try to address now for all trainees is that all courses work on mobile. You can imagine that space becomes, is at a premium when you're talking about a small phone screen or something like that. And honestly, we have a ton of people who are using mobile training now. So my guess is that we probably won't add more than 5 in the near term. But again, that's certainly a request that I can note and something that we can look at in the future for sure. Can an admin change a password for a trainee? The answer to this is sometimes. We have a function that allows you to turn on usernames and passwords. So the default in Mindflash is that email addresses are used for usernames and the trainee sets their password. If you turn on the function to use usernames and passwords, that's available on the setup screen. So as an admin, you have access to go in and set up your account. You can turn that function on. If that function is turned on, you can set the password. So that would allow you to do that on the trainee themselves. Once you've turned that on, you'll see a password field and you can overwrite what's in there and change it for them. Will there ever be the ability to use rich text or images in quizzes? We do have a couple of image questions now. My guess is that this is reference to multiple choice or true-false. That is definitely on our list of things to do, something that we're exploring. I don't have any solid release dates for that stuff right now, but it is definitely something that is in the plans. Can you allow us to see when the emails are open from our trainees? It's not something that we have in the immediate plans right now. It is potentially something that we've looked at some solutions on, so there may be something for that in the future. But again, request noted, and it is something that we're aware of and are trying to find a solution to. Will we be able to save or store more than one filter as we do with stored SQL queries and other applications? We have several filters we like to use on a regular basis. It would be helpful not to have to rebuild them each time. Great feedback. This is why we have our early access program. This is clearly someone who has used our filters significantly and has good feedback. We have heard that from other folks, and it is something that from day one we anticipated we were going to be doing at some point. So look for that in the future. In the beta version, how do I see all quiz questions at the same time for a trainee without having to flip through each one to see incorrect answers? The way that you've discovered to see the individual questions is in fact how you would see it. I guess as in a previous version, you could see the list down the left-hand side with all the red and green, whether or not they got it right. I understand where this question is coming from. So at the moment, there isn't a way to view that. We are definitely aware that there are some limitations with reviewing the quizzes and the quiz questions, so that is something we are looking to address in the future as well. So unfortunately, at the moment, there isn't a better way to view that, but we are aware of that. How can I quickly export a report of how one of my groups is doing? So, well, that depends a little bit on the information that you're looking for, but if I were to clear this filter and I wanted to go in here and I wanted to do sales group, I could search for that, and that gives me all the people that are in that group. So I suspect this is more related to the individual courses that those trainees are taking within that group. I think that's probably where that question is going. We are discussing how we would allow for the easy export of that information. It's not in there now. It is something that we're aware of and have kind of been poking around on. So my guess is you'll probably see a function for that in the future if that is what you're looking for. If you wanted to just see the members of the group, what I'm showing here on the screen now would do that. You would just go in and choose a specific group. You could choose multiple groups if you wanted to. But that's how you would see that at the time. Multiple choice questions are always randomized. Can we freeze them so they always appear the same way? No, that isn't an option. They are always randomized. The question order is randomized. That's an effort to sort of, mix things up so that it isn't easy to cheat or look at your, talk to your buddy next door and ask what they answered. But at this time, everything is automatically randomized. Quiz questions must be handled one at a time. Can we copy questions to avoid making or having to make each one individually? There is no way to copy individual questions from one to another. I'm suspecting that there's a similar quiz that's appearing on multiple courses. That obviously would be a scenario where this would be very useful. At this point, there is no way to do that, but again, something that we're thinking about. One thing you may think of is if it is the exact same quiz or it's very similar, sort of a workaround on that is if you make a copy of the course. So if you have your course that you're starting from and you want to make a copy of it, you can then adjust the copy of that course to have new content or even adjust some of the questions, but at least gives you the base of the questions itself or the quiz itself, and you can just kind of like swap stuff out or add to it from there. Not a 100% solution, totally recognize that, but that has saved some folks a lot of time in the past. So a lot of these quiz questions are coming from the same person, so following up on that, does the July update access any of these quiz questions or address any of these quiz questions? No, it does not. We plan to attack quizzes in the future, but I don't have any specific hard dates on that. But most of the things that have been raised around quizzes today are things that we're certainly aware of or that we've heard in the past. So I think a fair number of those will at least be addressed, if not, most of them. If I choose user and hit filter, go to custom field, start date is an option. I'd like to search new hires that recently started to see where they're at in the whole training program. How can I search based on starting, say, at the start of the month? I think this is based on a custom field. My recommendation on this, because I'm not totally solid, I don't want to give bad information, my recommendation on this would be to reach out to a customer success manager. I can have your customer success manager proactively reach out to you, which I'm happy to do, just to make sure we get this right, because I don't want to give bad information and confuse you further. So I will do that, and let me make a quick note of that, and we will reach out to you to make sure that we get you the answer you're looking for. There is no notification to the user that a session will expire in a few days. So we do have course deadlines. That is most likely what you want to use. When you set a deadline, the trainee is notified that they have a certain number of time or a certain amount of time to do that. There's no way to set a course to close on a specific day. You would set the expiration for your trainees so they have a certain period of time. That can be different for different trainees, or you could make it the same for everyone in a course. So if you want to give them 10 days, regardless of when they start, you have that option. If you wanted to give everyone that's in a course 10 days to finish before you close it out, you could impose a deadline, and that would notify them that they have a deadline. I can't remember if you mentioned switching will lose access to draft courses. So, so draft courses is a function that is actually going to be going away with the July release, and we'll give plenty of information around that as well. during the evolution of the Mindflash product, the draft courses have become less and less critical to actually launching a course. So we will be retiring the course status of draft. The sort of real-world implications of those of you who are using it are going to be very slim. When you create a new course, it will be in an active status. If you don't want trainees to take it, then you just don't invite them. So until you're ready to send that out to the world, you just won't invite trainees. That's really the only difference between a draft and active course at the moment. So that's really why we're trying to, sort of streamline things and make it a little clearer for folks that are coming in. For those of you who do have people in draft courses or who have draft courses now, we'll be informing you on how that's going to work when we make the switch over. What I will say, though, is it is in your best interest to drop the trainees before you you switch over to the new interfaces. That just removes the trainees from the course. It then becomes an active course and has no implications on anyone because no one's actually enrolled in that course. So I'm more than happy to talk through that specifically with people that are looking to do that and have people in their draft courses right now. But it is true that with the July release, we will be retiring draft courses. Just sorting through the last couple questions here. Okay, are there any plans to have a course autoplay rather than to need to click slide to slide? There aren't really any plans to do that. That is pretty easily achieved by uploading a video if you want something to play through. There's a lot of tools that will turn a PowerPoint into a video. There are several that I could kind of rattle off for you here. Articulate, Storyline allows you to do that. Adobe Captivate allows you to do that. I'm drawing a blank. There's a product called Camtasia, which allows you to do that as well. And if you're a Mac user, that's actually a really cheap program. For some reason, it's significantly cheaper if you're on a Mac than it is if you're on a PC. I'm not sure why that is, but if you're looking to do that, that's a great way to do it. But really, at the end of the day, if you do want to have an autoplay, just goes through the slides of a PowerPoint, for example, the best thing to do is just turn it into a video and upload it to Mindflash as a video. I don't believe there's a function to export a PowerPoint as a video, is there? Yeah, it's something that we can look into, and maybe we'll hit you up if we get an answer to that. Can I show a demo of where the feature is that allows us to reset trainee passwords? Okay, a lot of interest in resetting trainee passwords today. Let's see here. Okay, so let me first of all turn that function on. You go to a manage account. In this username section here on the left-hand side, click usernames, turn it on. Now usernames are enabled. So I'm going to go back, go to users, pick a user. This panel opens here. I'm going to click edit, and here is the password field, and you'll be asked to confirm it. So that's where you would go to reset their password. Note that when you reset their password manually as an admin, it doesn't send them a notification, nor does it send them their password. So that is something that you would need to do. That's sort of a security related issue. So you would actually have to reach out to them to let them know what their password is. Will you be able to provide a metric that lets us know who has had to retake a course or what that I'm not sure what that is, but I understand the question. So the question is, can you see retakes if someone has been reset or they decide to retake it themselves? So obviously the answer to that currently is no. That is something that is on our short-term roadmap, and look for changes probably fall on that, but that is the anticipation. So we're hoping to give you, insight into the different attempts on a course and the number of times that they've attempted it. So definitely something that's coming soon. Thank you all for this. It will save us so much time. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And certainly, if you do have feedback, either positive or negative on this, once you're playing with the filters and you're in there, that is something that we're very interested in. All of these changes that have come about have been based on feedback that we've received from customers. I can fully recognize that sometimes things don't come as fast as you would hope, but I do want to make sure that you understand that we do listen to all that feedback, and I honestly can't think of a single feature that we've released in the last 3 or 4 years that hasn't come at the request of a significant number of our customers. So even if you feel like some of the things that you are requesting don't get added right away, I would encourage you to request, use the feedback button in the bottom left-hand corner. This goes directly to our product team. So if you have product feedback, whether it's a feature request or, this is hard for me to do or whatever, I would highly encourage you to use that function because we do listen to that. And the folks that speak up and submit their requests, and, we get a number of requests around a certain area, those are the areas we address. So if you do have feedback, please let us know. There's a request for someone to reach out to you. We will definitely reach out to you. I'll figure out the appropriate person to talk to you, and we will hit you up shortly. When using Mindflash for training, I found it extremely important to be able to see the wrong answers as to use them to coach the trainee through the questions so they understand why they got them wrong. It's for my benefit too, so I can identify what the team may not understand and need more training on a particular subject. Okay, so two issues here. The first one is addressing individuals that have missed questions. So I think this kind of ties back to the ability to just kind of see in a quick glance what questions people have missed and what they've got right on an individual, when you're looking at an individual quiz. Totally understood, and we're hearing that, and actually that was identified internally a couple of weeks ago as something that we probably want to look at. So got that and totally understood. The second part of that question is feedback for the trainers on what questions are working and what are not. There's actually a report set up for this in our advanced reports that will allow you to see that. And I am going to flip over there real quickly to show you that because it is, in my opinion, a subtle gem of our reporting. So if I go in here to a specific course and I take this course, I am not positive, I was not prepared to show this, so you have to bear with me to make sure I find a course that has a quiz in it. This one does not, but I will find one. I'm sorry, I'm caught off guard on this question, but I will find one because I want to be able to show this. Okay, so this course has a quiz. I can, sorry, I jumped through that quickly, but this course has a quiz. In the advanced reports on the course detail, there's a section called quiz detail here. If you click on the quiz itself, it shows you question by question what the percentage of people who got it correct and incorrect is. So this is designed for that exact purpose, to give you feedback on your questions. So for example, this question, question number 4 here, only 60% of people are getting that right. that could be because this is a very hard question, and I know on this course this is actually a hard question. It was designed to be hard, so we're seeing low completion rates, but there could be a variety of reasons that people are missing this. The most common reason we see, and the reason I would recommend you use this function is typically people, the trainers, when they set up the course, select the wrong answer as being correct. So people are actually answering the question correctly, but because you've entered it as a different answer, they're getting it wrong. That's very common. So I would highly encourage you to come and look at this and figure that out. The other possibilities are maybe your content doesn't give enough information to answer the question. Those are sorts of things. And I think that's what this question is getting at, is how do I improve my questions and my quizzes and my courses and that sort of thing to make it so that people are getting more out of it. And there are two parts of that. One is addressing the individuals to make sure that you are getting them up to speed, but the other part of that is knowing whether or not your quiz or your questions themselves are reinforcing the material and that they're all right. So this is the best way to do that, and it's exactly what that's designed to do. You can even export this. For those of you that haven't used our advanced reports much, our advanced reports can be exported. It's a little bit subtle and hard to see, but this little arrow that points down, if you click that on any of the reports in the advanced reports, you can download the file and export it, whether it's an Excel or PDF or whatever. So then you can then go and share that with your team or whatever the case may be. So definitely a report that is very useful, and something that this is probably, in my opinion, the most useful part of the advanced reports. You can get a lot of great information out of that, other than just sort of general course reporting and information. All right. So I believe, I take that back. I can't find the Manage Account button. If you can't find the Manage Account button, so first of all, the Manage Account button, for those of you who have access to it, is available if you click on your name in the top right-hand corner. Manage Account is one of the options there. The instances where it's not an option is if you are a manager, trainer, anything other than an admin. So that is the distinction of an admin, is that they have access to the Manage Account. So if you don't have access to that page, it's probably because you're not set up as an admin. So you would either need to talk to your admin or get admin access in order to do that. A couple final questions here. Can you capture quiz info from a Captivate and display in the quiz details? It is not possible to view the individual questions asked in a Captivate file. We get the score from the Captivate file itself. So if the file, whatever requirements are in the file are, for passing, or for whatever they achieve, I should say, is passed to us, and based on that we grade it. It's not possible to get the individual questions. So if you need the individual question detail, you would want to use the report or the quizzing function within Mindflash. What is possible in Mindflash is to have a Captivate or Articulate file, have them go through that, and then when that's done, go into a Mindflash quiz. So one of the benefits of Mindflash and how it's set up is that you can actually combine a ton of different content types. And in this particular instance, let me show you. If you go into the Arrange tab, or the Add and Arrange if you're on the early access, you'll see our slide arranger, and that gives you a view of all of the different slides and content that's in your course. You can add all these different file types, one of them being SCORM, which is how we support Captivate and Articulate. But even if no matter what file type you choose here, you can go in and add more file types. So if you have this PowerPoint, this course right now is that we're looking at has PowerPoint in it, but if I wanted to, I could go in and I can add a video, or I can add a Word document, or a YouTube clip, or another SCORM file, or a quiz, and you can do that throughout the course. So that's a way that you would address actually adding quizzes after a SCORM file. You can insert the SCORM file, have it play, and then put a quiz right after it. 50% of the time I'm on the reports tab, my screen goes all the way to the left and I have to exit and restart. This is a issue that we identified for our early access folks and that we're looking at. It's something that we are addressing, and I believe we might have just addressed in a recent release, but I can get details on that, and I'll have your customer success manager follow up with you and just kind of let you know where we are on that. I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head whether that was fixed 100%, but we will find that out for you and let you know. Okay, that is it. So thank you for all of you, and especially those of you who stuck around extra time to ask questions. Again, you know, we're excited about the coming release, but a lot of this is available currently. So if you would like early access to it to sort of get the power of all of this filtering and the bulk actions and all that stuff, please, if you didn't say yes today and you want to think about it, or you just want more info, if you want to reach out to your customer success manager or our help team, you know, our support team, help@mindflash.com, we'd be certainly would be happy to have a chat with you about the implications and what it means and all that sort of stuff. So just let us know, and we would be happy to get you flipped over to it. Otherwise, if you're not, or you want to wait, you will hear more from us toward the end of July, probably mid to end of July. You'll start hearing from us. I would encourage you to sign up for those webinars to see all that's coming and all that's new, and encourage all of those of you, or all the people that you work with that have admin, trainer, manager access to the system, because it will be changing slightly for them, and we want to make sure everyone's up and running along, you know, from the start. So thanks again for joining today, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to visit our help center. It's help.mindflash.com, or shoot us a quick email, help@mindflash.com. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.